What's up, everyone? My name is Adam McDormand, and this is Medium Quality. The topic of today's episode of Medium Quality is going to be starter records for your vinyl record collection. Now, I know most people are going to say, oh, that's easy. Go out and get some Beatles stuff, go out and get Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, get some Radiohead, get some Fleet Foxes, Arcade Fire, whatever. Hold your horses a second, guys, because it's not that easy. You should be able to get my top 5 starter records for somewhere between $20 to $50. Now, I think that's a pretty reasonable price to get you up and going. We're talking stuff that you can put on and listen to and enjoy right away. Number 5. First things first. I'm not a huge fan of this band, Fleetwood Mac, but Rumors is undisputedly an extraordinary piece of work, specifically side A, which has secondhand news, which is very recognizable. Never Going Back Again, Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way. You can put this on and get the party started immediately. Now, this is in my top 5, probably going to be the one that's a little more expensive, just because it is extremely recognizable, and for some reason it seems like most people who have a copy of Rumors just keep their copy of Rumors. But Fleetwood Mac's Rumors is where you want to start your record collection. The only record in my top 5 that goes off the beaten path just slightly, the Moody Blues, Days of Future Past. Now, this is probably the least accessible of my top 5. That being said, what we have here is very like late 60s type kind of symphonic psychedelic music. So it's not something that you're going to listen to and have to spend a lot of time understanding before you can enjoy it, because it is pop sensible, yet it has some symphonic elements to it. The single from this album, Nights in White Satin, is something that some people will recognize right away and other people won't. And I think that's a good characteristic to have in something like this, because you can put it on and you're still learning something that's new, musically speaking, but there's a hint of familiarity to what we have here. And this is something that when I come across a copy of this, I buy it and then give it to someone who's just starting to collect vinyl, because I think this is one that some people don't think to have in their collection, but it's definitely worth picking up in your first 5 records. Number 4, Days of Future Past by the Moody Blues. Billy Joel's The Stranger. Here's another artist who I think is probably, overplayed a little bit, but The Stranger as a single album is, in my opinion, absolutely extraordinary. I often describe it as a concept album about what it's like to be a Jersey boy in the early 70s, and that works. You have Moving Out, which is just a great song. The Stranger, Just the Way You Are, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, that's only side A. This album is very pop sensible, but it's got a lot of punch to it. It's a rockin' but poppy album. I think you spin this and you're pumped immediately. So if you come across a copy of Billy Joel's The Stranger, this is the Billy Joel album that you need. Don't get anything else. You don't need anything else. You need The Stranger. Get it in your collection. This is number 3. I wanted to pick something that was a little bit harder rocking than all of the other albums in my top 5. And when you make that stipulation, there's a pretty wide range of things that you can come across very easily and round out the musical sounds that you have in your first 5 records. So I decided to go with Yes's 90125. This may be personal bias here because I love Yes so much, but I think this album complements or adds to, in a unique way, the sounds of the rest of the albums that I'm showing today. 90125 is by far not the greatest of the Yes albums. I get that. I'm a Yes fan, I understand. But this one is, to a person who's not super familiar with Yes or not really interested in progressive rock, which is most people, this is an album that's going to be pretty easily accessible. It kicks off with Owner of a Lonely Heart, which is a very recognizable, sort of strange pop song that has a very one-of-a-kind sound. But the rest of this album is still really good if you don't judge it according to, earlier Yes albums. Hold On, Changes, Leave It, and Hearts are all like really good 80s, almost like 80s metal kind of, but not super obnoxious like a lot of 80s metal is. Really listenable album that if you're playing the top 5 here, it's going to sound different, and we'll give you a little bit of a break from the kind of classic rock sounds of Rumors or The Stranger, and a little bit moving forward from the very early progressive sounds of the Moody Blues. Number 2 in your collection, 90125 by Yes. Pretty easy to come by. My number 1 pick for the top 5 albums that you need to get to start off your vinyl record collection, boom, Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears. This album will be easily recognizable at first because of the singles Shout, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, and the perhaps lesser known but still really beloved song Head Over Heels, all of which make this album, just those 3 songs alone make this album kind of a masterpiece. But The Working Hour, which is track number 2 on side A, has very quickly become my favorite Tears for Fears song, and definitely a hidden gem on this album. This is got a lot of synthy kind of elements in it, but it's still very pop sensible, and it's not obnoxious in its use of electronic elements. So this album definitely belongs in the first 5 albums that you get for your vinyl record collection. If you're just getting into vinyl collecting, I think those very simple, very listenable, easy to come by albums definitely belong in your collection to start off with. And I think if you get those 5 records, you have a pretty diverse and accessible and enjoyable set of music that can get you going while you look for your more obscure, perhaps more expensive gems. If you guys are interested, let me know. I can make what comes next, which is probably the top 5 sort of off the beaten path, slightly rare things that should go into your collection to kind of beef it up, give it some more variety. But again, that's all personal preference. These 5, I think, are sort of like a universal get these and get going and enjoy your collection. Feel free to subscribe. Hit me up in the comments section below. Tell me what you want to hear about next. Visit mediumq.com to see a few other videos and what I've been writing lately, because I've been doing a lot of that. And have an excellent day.